First of all, welcome everybody. Thank you everybody for joining. I hope today we're gonna have like a 40-minute webinar. Please do understand that I'm not focusing on theory. I'm trying to make something more practical. The idea is not to teach anything because it's not the place to do that here. The idea is to present you with some tendencies which I have been researching from various sources, and also with some marketing actions that have been done recently and can indicate a path for brands to navigate these times of crisis. So let's begin with the presentation. And after the presentation, we'll have like 15 minutes for your questions. So you guys will see an image of our beautiful university, the University of La Sabana. So here is our campus. We are located at Chía, which is a city near Bogota on Colombia. So here's our campus. I hope that some of you will, if you guys are not students from La Sabana or professionals from La Sabana, I hope that someday you may be able to visit us here, and I will be delighted to receive you. So going on. Our thematics of today is practical marketing actions in response to COVID-19 crisis. So we're trying to see some branding actions, some actions that companies are doing, not only here in Colombia, but also worldwide, and response to this crisis. So going on. My presentation, of course, I have 18 years of experience teaching. I'm PhD on management. My focus was consumer research and branding. I have more than 40 articles and book chapter published. Actually, at this moment, I am the track leader for the 2020 Brazilian Academic Association Conference on the track relationship management and customer brand relationship. Which is one of my areas of research. I'm also track leader for the 2020 Marketing Conference, which is forcibly displaced communities and market systems. Last year, I've been track leader for marketing for the Ibero-American Academy Conference that was made here in La Sabana. And I guess that's it. I am a member of the ACR, Association for Consumer Research. I was a member of the digital transformation group within TCR movement. And I also served as a reviewer for servicing. So going on. Let's talk a little about what's happening with the COVID crisis right now. So this data is from today, which is May 20. And today, worldwide, we have over 4 million cases, going on to 5 million cases confirmed. We have over 300,000 deaths. And the countries with the highest cases are United States, by far leading the crisis. Then the Russian Federation, United Kingdom, Brazil on South America, and Spain on Europe. So over here we have a little presentation of this crisis. It's a worldwide crisis. Of course, I'm not here to explain the reasons or why it's happening. This data is from the World Health Organization, so it was collected today and is the latest data that we have about it. So some challenges that are presented by COVID-19. We separated that through a lot of sources, being the main source, the World Health Organization, but also another big ones like the UN and other sources, institutional sources, and separated in 3 areas. So personal challenges, first one is mental health. which is a really serious problem nowadays for people who are on quarantine. Also, the question of how to connect to your loved ones and your friends when you are within confinement, or even in situations when we don't have a strict lockdown. Even in these situations, we still have problems connecting, as we have restrictions to move around, especially here in Colombia. We're passing through it, but it's not only here, it's also worldwide. So we also have economic challenges, of course. There are going to be a huge loss of GDP. A recession will be made due to these pandemics, and it also will generate unemployment. And these are two developments that are really important for us because of their impact on consumption. So we also have social challenges, which also in this are included the adaptation to work and life in lockdown or with pandemics, which is something that's really serious for us, and the risk to vulnerable populations. So usually the ones who will be affected the most during this crisis will be the ones who have the minimum amount of resources to survive it. These people who are at the base of the pyramid of income, also refugees, people with disabilities, people with health conditions, and minority groups. So all these people will be really affected by this crisis. So the data is pointing to that, and the research also is indicating that. So how does that reflects to the consumption patterns and hence to marketing? So first things first, consumer confidence is at an all-time low. This data is according to some institutions such as the OECD, WTO, also Google Consumer Insights, Counter Award Panel, Forbes, and here in Colombia, Radar Consumer Group. So this is something that we have to consider because at these times that we are passing through, the impact on consumer confidence is a direct impact on consumption. So companies worldwide are being affected by that. Of course, this impact is asymmetric because some sectors will have better protection from it, depending on how the marketing channels are configured in order to deliver products to the end customers. So depending on that, consumer confidence may impact more or less. Of course, first necessity products and services will always have demand, and other products will have lesser demand. We're going to talk about that in a few moments. So increase of online and mobile purchase. So one thing that Google has identified on its consumer insights report is that customers are using multiple devices in order to keep themselves connected. So first way is mobile, of course. Then we're going to have also online connections, but not only through computers, but also through other devices. For example, smart TVs that enable customers to make purchases and also keep their social networks in contact. So that's also something that we have to consider. And as we have this big increase on online and on mobile purchases, demand has also increased for internet and mobile data services. And that also impacts countries in a way that it's really, really asymmetric because some countries will have a better internet infrastructure, and that will also make things easier for purchases and for consumption of products such as entertainment products online. So that's also something to consider, and that's also something that will impact consumer patterns. As the purchases and the consumption is migrating to the online and the internet, we also have a boost of contactless payment, which is the payment that we may do through our e-cards, through our credit cards, through third parties such as PayPal, PicPay, and other programs who facilitate payment online. So some countries will experience some changes on their payment methods. Some countries will experience some kind of reconfiguration of the way purchases are made. On some places, we also have systems that were designated for people to buy in person, having to make this quick migration to online, which is kind of problematic if a company didn't had the expertise or didn't had made the steps to have a presence online. Of course, it will be disruptive for a lot of business and business models. So it also requires a configuration. As the consumer confidence gets lower, the unemployment gets higher. We also have more conservative on people are becoming more conservative on discretionary spending, which means that some kinds of product and service categories will be suffering from a lack of demand as people are moving to focus on personal and family needs. So in this case, that would be groceries, hygiene, and most recently, Euromonitor, Google, and also Radar from here, Colombia, have identified that people are starting to expand more on lifestyles, so health products, also products for home. Some people need to refurbish or buy equipment for their home office. So this is a movement that has been made. Of course, please do understand that I'm not trying to make an explanation of all the changes that are happening due to COVID-19. There are more changes. However, that's not the focus of this presentation, so I'm just trying to present some that I consider the most relevant for our discussion today. So, considering these new consumer patterns that are due to COVID, what companies can do in practical terms to try to mitigate the impacts of this crisis? We do have to consider also the impacts that we might have on business. So this one here is from the OECD, of course, and we have the reference below. So what these numbers mean for us? First thing, the mean for these numbers, the average is 100, and that's a series that has been going on from OECD. for more than 2 decades. And first thing, the consumer confidence index that OECD discloses to us, it's at an all-time low. That's the lowest time that ever that this index reached were measured for us. So that's at 97.82. That's the all-time low. And for business confidence, which impacts B2B purchases, we have a 97.14, which means that's the second all-time low. There was one time during the 2009 crisis where the business confidence were a little lower than that. That was the financial crisis. And these two indicators tell us that consumers are not willing to expand. So due to this monetary crisis, due to this crisis, we do have two strong indicators over here that tells us that consumer and business spending in the next months will be really low. So nobody wants to risk in this moment when there's so much uncertainty about the economy, about consumption, and about jobs. So, how brands are responding to COVID-19 crisis in terms of consumer brand relationships? What are the actions that they are choosing? What are the lines that they are going? This is an interesting question, and I've been searching for examples. I've been following that up for since the beginning of the crisis, and I separated the patterns that the companies are doing through three lines, which are in accordance with some publications from Google Insights, Euromonitor, also Counterpanel International, and other reports from these big research companies. So the first one is empathy. So some companies are directing their marketing actions in empathic ways, just on the brand communications, on the promotional actions. They are trying to reach out the customer in a way that's more emotional, in a way that aims to understand better the customer, and which would make for a closer relationship. Other brands are trying to collaborate. Other brands are doing marketing actions directed to collaborate with society, and they are communicating that in a way that also reinforces their image. So the first way is more emotional. The second way, we're talking in a way that it's more on the CSR, consumer, on the company's social responsibility side. And the last way is more helpful. So some companies are trying to provide some promotional actions, some products in a way that can help personal necessities of their customers. So this is the direct response in terms of actions of brand relationship actions that come to answer this consumer expectative within a crisis context. So as the customer is also changing, it's passing through mental problems sometimes, it's passing through social problems, it's passing through economical problems such as unemployment. such as problems that are related to the economy, and all these impacts, they have to be considered when a company is trying to plan its brand relationship actions. So the first company that I want to talk about is Poker Beer. That's a Colombian company over here. So the first action that has been made for a brand to contact this one, it's an action that I classify within the context of empathy. They are given 2 liters of or 2 bottles of beer for their clients that are making anniversary during this crisis. So you can contact them by means of their mobile app or online platform and communicate that you are having your anniversary during our lockdown over here in Colombia, and they will send you as a gift to your house 2 bottles of beer. So this is an interesting action in a way that it promotes empathy. They are trying to promote the image that they do understand what their customers are passing by, and they want people to change their date to commemorate their anniversary when the lockdown is finished over here in Colombia, in a way that they can just reunite their friends and families, and that would be something that would impact positively on the image of the brand. So that's also an interesting action. It is the first one. So companies acting, trying to reach out for their customers with empathy. Case of Poker Beer. Second one, I guess that is happening all over Latin America. I'm not sure if that's happening on other continents, but over here in Latin America, I was checking out in many countries, not only the Spanish countries, but also in Brazil, companies, cable companies such as DirecTV are offering for clients who have, of course, a signature of their services. They are offering free channels during the lockdown. So, especially here in Colombia, we had 2 extensions of our lockdown, and DirecTV had been extending the offering of these free channels during the lockdown. So this is also an interesting action because they are trying to offer their clients this benefit, and that is an action that also is helpful for our clients, because it's not only entertainment channels. They are also offering educational channels, because most people, not only here but on other South American countries, and I guess all around the world, they are having their kids at home. So one of the difficulties when you have your kids at home is also not only how to entertain them, but you also need to help with their education. So this offering by such cable company is an offering also that it's helpful for the family. It's also a way to give their free sample of their extended programmation. So people might, after the crisis is finished, buy better packages. So it's a way to make a closer relationship and I guess is an interesting action. Okay, this one here is quite interesting because this is the Colombian airline company, Avianca, and Avianca is passing through a lot of problems, financial problems, was experiencing financial problems prior to the crisis, and this just aggravated during this COVID crisis, of course, as airlines all over the world, especially on the countries that adopted lockdowns, are experiencing the same. So, what has been Avianca doing to communicate, to make bridges, to make relationships with their customers? Avianca has been sending communications via email, offering these lives, these meetings through channels, through YouTube, through other channels that they do have, uh, so people could still make the connection with the brand through actors, through singers, through influencers. In the case of this image that you guys are seeing, this one is a class with a celebrity from here. So, but they also make concerts with famous musics from here. So that's also something really interesting because it's not directly selling air tickets, but nevertheless, it's also a way to keep in touch, to keep your customer interested, to be helpful to your customer, and to have this brand contact points during the crisis. Then we have internationally, of course, two interesting actions. MTV and YouTube partners, they have made a partnership with the Obamas and also celebrities to make a virtual prom on the United States. I could have gotten here an image of themselves, but it's really interesting to see, for example, these two tweets from the personal account of Michelle Obama. And it's really interesting to see how it's being promoted, not only on the media, but also on the social networks of the politicians, of the celebrities, of the musicians that are, and also actors that are being involved with this marketing action. So one was with YouTube and its channel of originals, and the other one was with MTV. So with MTV, it was the foundation that the Obamas have, When We All Vote, and MTV, and it was coordinated by Michelle Obama herself. And on YouTube, it was more of gathering of celebrities, singers, politicians, actors, and so on. So we can see over here that we have both the Obamas, uh, Mr. Barack Obama and Mrs. Michelle Obama, but also BTS, Lady Gaga, Robert M. Gates, Sundar Pichai, Condoleezza Rice, Malala also, and a lot of bands and singers that had participated on this gathering. So these are interesting way that they are working on. So one cable company, MTV, but also available on the digital channel for MTV, and one streaming from Google, which is Google Originals, both trying to participate with their target market in a way that is engaging. And I consider in this case something that's really helpful for these students who unfortunately don't have a prom in the US, which is a tradition. we have the brand Walls, which is specialized on hygiene, on hair especially. Not only they have a line of razors and equipment for that. So Walls had used that in a different way, which is also helpful. And they are making a lot of how-to videos. So how do you cut your hair using Wall products? And this especially action was interesting because the traffic on Wall's homepage jumped to 1,400% during the time of this action. So Walls is generating content. Walls is making this bridge to their customers, and it's really interesting in the way that they are promoting the brand and generating traffic to their website and hence making sales. Here we have an action from McDonald's. So McDonald's is making this action, which is really interesting. It was aimed at Europe, and they made the burger puzzle. So when you are in a lockdown at home, and what could be the funniest way to remember a brand and also to pass your time than to do a jigsaw? So for people who like this kind of puzzle, it's really interesting because when you are making and playing with it, you are also remembering the brand. And especially the package is really well done, I think, in a way that promotes the brand and the product. Of course, as McDonald's done that, we do have one of their main competitors, which is Burger King, that retaliated in a kind of really creative way. So Burger King and Whopper, which is their main product, in an answer to the Big Mac, made a Zoom background. So the promotion was to download one of the billboard images from Burger King Twitter account, use it as a Zoom background during your virtual meetings, upload a photo on Twitter, and tag the brand using the hashtag home of the billboards. So on this image, you guys can see people with billboard images as their background from Zoom, which is kind of interesting because it's an action that it's kind of co-created of branding over here, and people are really digging into it. I think it's a really creative way to have this collaboration between the customer and the brand. So other brands trying to work as helpful, and the case of the beverage brands, which is kind of really interesting. Beverage brands are working on hand sanitizer. So here we can see from AB InBev, the Anheuser-Busch, so they're making their hand sanitizer, and it's really interesting because they made that and they worked on the package, and you can see that the package for Anheuser-Busch, it's really interesting. The brand has this highlight on the package, which is kind of what we desire. For on Europe, AB InBev also made on the center of the image this package, which don't promote any of their brands, but are more for an image of the group, for a marketing image for the company. And here we can see on the ad is written for our heroes, so also something really laudable. And on here we have a brand of gin, so Bar Hill Gin, and the package that they made to make hand sanitizer. It's happening all over the world. Many beverage companies are pitching in. They are making their hand sanitizers, and that's a way to be helpful. That's a way to be present. That's a way to collaborate with your customer in these hard times. So that's something that really calls my attention. Then we have IKEA, and IKEA has this hand drawing catalog for kids. So that's something also really interesting. So you have the IKEA products, and you can ask for the catalog and then give to your kids for them to paint, for them to interact. So it's not only an action to promote and sell products, but also an action to engage the family, which is something really, really great at this moment. So we also have over here the other side of brands. And one problem that companies are passing through is the question of the other side. So due to some comments of a politician, the company that makes Lysol and makes Dettol is urging companies and is urging customers not to consume its cleaning products, especially after the President Donald Trump suggested the possibility of injecting disinfectants to protect people from coronavirus, which is something really grave. And that's something that can impact their brand negatively. So they made an official communicate. They are trying to work that out. You can see that on their label and on their package, there's this message which kills 99.9% of viruses and bacteria. So that can be misleading, that can be misguiding, and the brand had to act to pass the correct message, as it doesn't want to be associated with this kind of practice. To finish up, we also have the case of Corona beer, which has the name of Corona, the Mexican brand. Corona beer, at the beginning, some people had some problems buying the brand, but I was checking down the latest news about Corona, and the company who owns the brand was telling that there was no problems with the sales. That's Grupo Modelo from Mexico. And the information that we have from Grupo Modelo is that there was no such affection on the sales, so the sales were still the same. However, the production of Corona beer right now, it's being stopped as the Mexican government ordered non-essential business to close. So Americans and Mexicans might face a shortage of beer, Corona beer. Okay, I guess that's our presentation for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed our presentation. And I'm open to answer any question or any comments that you guys have at the moment.
Thank you, Marcus, for your presentation. So we have some questions. The first one is from Natalia. So she's asking you, from your point of view, which brand has the best marketing and communication strategy during this crisis?
I guess this is a hard answer to give because many brands are doing actions at this moment. Many brands are trying to engage the customers with empathy, being helpful, trying to reach out for them. I guess the best brands at these moments are the brands that are trying to be more human, the brands that are trying to be on our side, the brands that are reaching out for us and trying to reinforce these relationships in these times of hardship. I don't think there's such thing as a best brand because we do have different service and product categories. So that's something that's really hard to say. For example, automotive brands on Europe and also on the US had been producing electronic and mechanical ventilators to help patients, and that's something really wonderful. Luxury brands have chipped in making equipment for medical staff. So there's a lot of good things happening. I'm happy to think that this crisis is bringing the best of many people around the world and also many companies. So what's the next question?
Okay, so the next question is, how can companies innovate in their marketing and communication strategy? What advices do you have for that?
All right. The first point to innovation here is to really understand the changes in the consumer behavior. So the point that we all have to start within is to reach out and try to investigate this new customer. So companies have to make an effort to understand these changes of pattern. So we're gonna pass through a period of recession. Customers will try to reach out for trusted brands, and also they will try to downgrade some consumption they are making. And brands have to be really sensitive for that because sometimes they might have different offerings through the price range. Maybe if you have products that are competing on the average price, you may want to have some products for low income on the lower range of price. So companies have to be first and foremost uh, aware of these changes in the consumer behavior. They have to investigate it. They have to be sensible to it and adequate their marketing offerings in accordance to these troubled times. So next question.
No, for now we don't have no more questions.
All right.
Maybe if we can give another chance if any have any additional inquiries or questions that you may want to ask Professor Marcos. Okay, yes, we have another one. So it says, Professor Marcos, thank you for this interesting conference. My question, do you think this crisis will allow new platforms for marketing to arise?
Uh, that's an interesting question. Um, I don't see, I see the opportunity for new platforms, but the way that I've been monitoring these changes for the last months, what I see is more consolidation on the main platforms. Of course, if you can find a niche, you can find a gap in the marketplace, it's possible. I would say, especially on these new business models that might arrive arise due to these changes. So we're gonna have especially some consumption pattern changes on how we consume, what we are buying most, and a lot of people will be passing difficulties to unemployment. So there might be something um, at products with a lower price. There might be something for marketing actions directed to this public until we can weather out this economic storm that we're gonna experience due to the COVID crisis, I guess. All right, I guess that's it.